Having the quarterback step into the middle of the pocket, is a dream come true.
As Toon works out of the shotgun, 4-receiver package. Toon looks to fling it. He's hit, goes forward, goes down right at his own 22-yard line. Dalvin Tomlinson falls on top of him for the stop.
That might be his third sack, the hat trick, and that's the sixth sack of the day for the Cleveland Browns.
I'm going to thank Amari Cooper, man. He just liked falling down on that 2-3 yard line, but no big deal. I'll help him out and finish it off.
So first and goal, Browns at the Cardinals 3. Harris, number 53, will be in the backfield. Deshaun Watson under center, hands it to Hunt, running right side, had some blockers, gets to the goal line and forces his way in for a touchdown. Kareem Hunt on a 3-yard touchdown run.
So, we kind of knew that they were going to, that was their flavor of the day. And if we saw that same look, let's match protect and let's see if we get a shot just throw off the safety. So, we just kind of drew it up on the sideline and it worked.
Jerome Ford in the backfield with quarterback Deshaun Watson for the Browns. And Watson looking to pass from his 39. Watson will hoist that one deep down the right side of the field, and it is caught by Cooper, taken down at the 5 of Arizona. Big hookup. Deshaun Watson to Amari Cooper. Buda Baker finally stops Cooper, who gets the Browns a first and goal.
That's the Deshaun Watson you want to see. Amari Cooper was double-teamed right there. Buda Baker, as soon as the ball was snapped, went over there. He dropped that in the absolute bucket.
Takeaways happen when the defense plays together. Rush and coverage work together, and they're a tandem.
It's first and 10 to their own 20. And a fake handoff. Toon looking to throw, rolling to his right. Hit while throwing. Ball comes loose. Beanbag is out, and it looks like that may belong to the Browns right around the 11-yard line. Is coming away with a football for the Cleveland Browns.
May have been Myles Garrett picking that one up there.
Shelby Harris appeared to be the player, Nathan, who knocked it away.
Here are your hosts, Bo Bishop and Nathan Zagura.
Let's do it live on a Victory Monday edition. Merely Bo, the great Z. How you living, buddy?
I mean, it's Victory Monday. How's
Victory
everybody
Monday.
living? You
Feeling
got to
pretty good.
enjoy it. And
Pretty
this was
good.
it was a game that, look, the Browns should have won.
We said on Friday, like you said specifically, you said, I'm thinking shutout.
I
There's
did.
no reason not to shut them out.
First since
And that's what happened.
2007.
Yeah, that's
First
what
since
happened.
2007. And then our great statistician, Dan Tracy, I said, well, when was the last time the Browns had a shutout that was in like normal weather? Because the 2007 game was the 8-0 blizzard against the Bills.
Yep.
And off the top of his head, he goes 2005. I'm like, okay. You see him get on his computer. He looks it up, and it was November 2005 against the Miami Dolphins, and he was ecstatic, as he should have been. He's currently –
That's a hell of a call.
I know he's not listening to this now because Gibbe and I know he's already down in Florida on a golf course, so good for him. You've earned it, Dan Tracy.
Oh, no, he's in Naples.
Yeah. Well,
He's
that's
got
in
tea
Florida.
time.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you
Yeah.
were talking Italy.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
Naples is in Florida. Yeah, that's true.
He's in Florida on a golf cart. No, he's in Naples, and he has tea times.
We're underway, kids.
We're
know
underway.
what?
It's a
We're
Victory
underway.
Monday. We're delirious.
You know what
We're delirious.
like this, the defense is unbelievable and so forth, but the tone of this show and the tone of your Monday out there collectively listening is entirely different if Ford doesn't have the throws he has.
Of course.
And he didn't have one of them. He had three that were superb. One that you won't see better than around the entire day in the NFL. So a win is a Victory Monday is always sweet, but we've had different variations of those, winning despite ourselves sometimes. And to have Deshaun Watson, and it was even not just the throws down the field, and the one to Coop, unbelievable when he splits the double, but also even his ability to step up. There was one where he steps up and runs for the first down,
Yeah, 13
and he
yards.
gives you one of those,
Yes.
and you go, okay, all right, yep, he's feeling himself. He's got the belief again in what he's capable of, and that is as important as a shutout. It's probably more important, quite honestly. That's the most important thing to come out of this game is because whatever this team is going to be, we said this in the lead up to the trade deadline, whatever this team is going to be from a ceiling standpoint, the only person who can get him there is Four. And so for him to have a game like that at home, take care of business, and to do it with spectacular throws. There were three absolute spectacular jaw-dropping throws that he made in that game. That changes everything for us on a Victory Monday.
It does. And in my post-game recap, which you get at the Browns YouTube channel, youtube.com/Browns, or on the Browns mobile app, I said that I came into this game wanting two things. The first was to see that Deshaun Watson was back, that his shoulder had full functionality, he could drive the football, and that he would make some great plays. Check.
As big as can be.
And then I wanted to see our defense dominate an inferior opponent. Check. I mean, you got the two things that you wanted to see out of this game. And I think, people have been putting the stats around that if you look at what's happened now in Deshaun Watson's last 2 full games, 46 of 63, that's 73%, 508 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 38 yards rushing, 0 turnovers, 115.5 rating.
Yep.
That's the guy that you traded
That's
for.
why you do it.
That's why you made that move. And, you think about Deshaun Watson's last 2 full games are the only 2 games we've had without a quarterback turnover. This was our first clean sheet of the year. We're now 14-2 under Kevin Stefanski with a clean sheet, which means no turnovers, no giveaways. You needed to see those throws, and you needed to see the arm strength. But also, he took a lot of hits in this game.
He did.
The Arizona Cardinals generate a ton of pressure.
Yep.
Dennis Gardeck, I haven't gone to PFF yet to see what they credited him with, but in my mind, he had at least 4 quarterback hits in this game. I mean, he was hitting Watson repeatedly. And he stood there, he took some big hits, delivered the football, and it felt like as the game went on, he got better. And now the only thing that I would say coming out of it that you want to see cleaned up for Deshaun Watson is those little layups have to be layups, the stick routes. And you go back to Pittsburgh, that stick route was a little bit of a problem. Those are 5-yard throws. Like, those have got to be right there on the money. But I thought very encouraging overall. You can see the affection for him that his teammates have. If people seen that cool video of Chief and Kareem Hunt, raising their hands, and then they bring Watson in. Everybody knows. This is what it's about. It's about where 4 can take you, and what we saw today, or what we saw yesterday, I should say, was a very, very good indication of what this can be. Was it perfect? Of course not. But there were a lot of big-time plays and big-time throws, and then you had a defense that is doing things historically that are outrageous, that are so good.
Well, you don't have a whole. Now, look, this is a bad Arizona team, but this
Very
Browns
bad.
defense has done it to basically everybody they've played with very little margin on that. I mean, this stuff is historical. When you're talking about yesterday, Arizona, this is a National Football League team. They had 14 drives, a total of 48 plays for a total of 58 yards in this game. And I saw you tweeted something that was even more comprehensive than that. Go ahead.
Their first play was a 2-yard run by Rondale Moore. Their second play was the bootleg to Trey McBride for 12 yards. Their third play was an 11-yard run by Keontae Ingram. 11 plus 12, 23 plus 2, 25. 25
First 3 plays?
On their first 3 plays. That means their next 45 plays netted them 33 yards.
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
45 plays for 33 yards. How about this? I said Keontae Ingram, his first carry, went for 11 yards. He finished the day with 9 carries for 8 yards.
Who'd have loved it?
The glee. That was joyous.
Oh, that's
but
great.
That's unbelievable.
It is.
Of their runs, their 28 yards of their 41 rushing, and 28 of their 58 were Clayton Tune quarterback scrambles.
Yeah,
you're talking designed plays.
Yeah.
They didn't even produce 30 yards. They produced exactly 30 yards on design plays.
No. And that defense has carried us to this spot to where you have a 5-3 record, where if the playoffs started right now, you're the 6th. By the way, everybody in the AFC North would be in if the playoffs started right now. Our record outside of the division in terms of the AFC North, I think it's 17-6 against all other divisions. The AFC North is 17-6.
It's the best division in football.
Far and away the best division in football statistically in terms of what's happened this year. The dominance that you're seeing in the division, the one thing that is nice with our game at 1 is you're able to have some other games. You're able to watch the night game with Cincinnati last night, and Baltimore just really, really buried Seattle, about as big as you can bury them. But this is a loaded division, but it's that defense that's put you in the position. But it's going to be 4 that takes you from here. He will be the guy who takes you from here if you're going to maintain that spot and try to chase down Baltimore.
The defense has cemented the floor for this football team.
Agreed. Well put.
The ceiling will be determined by Deshaun Watson.
I like it.
And I think that's true.
I like that.
By the way, watch that game last night. It was like, I already know the Bengals are going to win because this is just how it's going this year. There was just no doubt in my mind the Bengals were going to win that game. Just like watching Thursday against the Titans, it was inevitable to me that the Steelers were going to win.
Yeah.
They did it. Now the Ravens have, in their last 2 home games, have annihilated the Lions and the Seahawks. That will be a very tough one. We'll have plenty of time to get into that. But we're 5-3. That would be clear. Second place by ourselves in the AFC East. Second place by ourselves in the AFC South. Second place by ourselves in the AFC West. That would be tied with the Cowboys for second place in the NFC East. We would be second place by ourselves in the NFC North. We would be first place in the NFC South, and we'd be tied for first in the NFC West.
Yeah.
And here we are in third, which is also absurd that our 5-3 is The Steelers still have a negative 30-point differential. The Ravens have
They're sorcerers.
They're sorcerers. The Ravens are plus 115. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
The Steelers are minus 30. The Browns are plus 42. And the Bengals are minus 7. The Steelers are... It's so annoying. But it just felt like it was inevitable.
Yeah.
Here's the good thing. You have next week a real opportunity to make a statement, and then in week 10, that's Baltimore, Cincy, so one of them has to lose.
Yeah.
And we play the Steelers, and we better win that game.
Yep. Yeah, and your defense is going to put. I mean, it's hard for me to imagine. I can't even talk about Pittsburgh yet. But just the defense. I like what you said. This defense established a very high floor, and then the ceiling will be up to Watson. It's funny, like we talk about. I mean, it's not funny. It's actually kind of sad, like the amount of injuries that we have had, especially on the offensive side, just catastrophic monster players for this team. Picked up another one with Jed over the weekend, though. Some good news, right?
Right.
The fear was that it would be
done for the season, and he will go on IR. Kevin Stefanski saying that it was just an MCL injury and that he will go on IR, but that he could be back
Gibbe has
for
a
this
note.
team. Yes.
Yeah, this is from Tom Pelissero. It's a high grade. I want to get this right. A high grade MCL sprain, low grade PCL sprain, bone bruises. Expected to sideline him roughly 6 weeks per sources. He'll go on injured reserve, but good news, Wills should return this season. So he would return with 3 or 4 games left.
Okay. Yeah, so we'll have to patchwork that together and do that. When it happened, I guess we can get into the injury stuff in a second. The point I was making though was, if I were to tell you that all of that were to happen, that up until yesterday, P.J. Walker would have more quarterback snaps than Deshaun Watson, and through 8 games you'd be 5-3. You would have been doing cartwheels. Furthermore, if all of those people were healthy, you would have taken 5-3. If there was no injuries, you would have taken 5-3.
Of course.
This was a brutal start. This is a tough schedule, man. Really tough schedule.
By the way,
out of the gates.
We also lost the turnover battle in 6 of those 8 games.
Right. Yeah.
6.
Yeah. And I do think that we're kind of one of the biggest mysteries still out there. I've read a lot of national people and there's a lot of praise going to Baltimore, and deservedly so. A lot of plays for Cincinnati with what they did last night and the way they played the last 2 weeks, deservedly so. Even Kansas City and their defense, like how suffocating that defense is, deservedly so.
Yep.
And I don't think people know what to make of us quite yet. They know that our defense is spectacular, but they're aware of the injuries and they're aware of who we've played without. And so of all of the teams that are near the top of the AFC, and by the way, if you're near the top of the AFC, you're the top of football. We're the one that's kind of the wild card.
Yep.
And when you read national people over the weekend, whether it's Peter King or the guys at the Ringer or PFF, whatever, there's kind of this. I'm not sure what to make of Cleveland, other than the fact that the defense is historically dominant.
How could you?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's tough.
It's
hard.
You just saw Deshaun Watson yesterday for the first time really since
I know.
week 3. I mean, so you don't know what we are, and I think everybody would agree. Right, the floor is cemented at a high level, and that is because of what you're getting out of this defense. And then the question becomes, what can we actually be? And if we get this offense going, this is a team that can beat absolutely anybody.
Yeah,
because you have, like I said, you're elite on defense. You have probably the best interior trio still on an offensive line. And really, honestly, DeJuan Jones is playing, in my mind, at a Pro Bowl level. If he's not, I don't know what it is.
I don't know what you'd want more. I mean,
right. I don't know what more he could do.
Yeah.
Now we're going to have some issues at left tackle. And, the guy that we got, Leroy Watson from the Niners, who my dad was pissed about, by the way. Hold on.
And not pleased Pedro. By the way, they're at Jacksonville this week. Losers of 3 straight, San Francisco. They're at Jacksonville.
No, yeah, that's tough. This is what he said. Nerd. Beep. Beeping. Browns signed Leroy Watson from the Niner practice squad. He was the off-tackle, converted tight end that I told you about. The Niners were hoping might be a starter next season. Should have kept him on the roster and dumped Pryor. I don't know who that is. He was a stud in preseason pass protection at left tackle. I said, nice. Not nice. I said, but Dad, Browns are your number 1 team now. No, I've moved on to the Bengals. So then I sent him these emojis. Pedro face and a frowny face.
He's moved on to the Bengals because of this transaction?
Yesterday, 12:36 prior to the kick. Go Browns, parentheses, the tackle thieves.
That is great.
Yeah, so
he's moved on to the
boots on the
Bengals,
ground,
and then he's
boots
look
on-
at his knowledge of like the practice squad.
Let me tell you something. When I call him, I
thought he just liked the Niners. I didn't know he's like dialed in on their practice squad.
Are you kidding? He sends me 4 athletic articles on the Niners a day. Good read.
Good read.
Good read. I called him last night on the way home, and I was like, Dad, I feel like you know the Niners almost as well as I know the Browns. I said, do you do nothing but read Niners stuff? He said, well, I do other things. Well,
we know some of them. Yeah.
He reads right, we do know some of them. He reads, I think, every article that is written on the Browns, period. Unless it's by Grant Cohn, he's
the guy he's not a fan of. Hates that guy. Everybody else.
He's a real crud. Yeah.
He's a real crud. Everybody else he's locked in on. But yeah, it wasn't, I mean, on Friday when I said just show up, that was the big 3 things. And
I did not allow that.
You did not allow it. I said and then we added act accordingly, and they did. They showed up, they acted accordingly. This was never a game that Arizona was going to win because of how good our defense is. To your point, the floor is very high because of them. Nice shot out of you.
Thank you.
But you feel good because of what you saw to your quarterback, and that changes everything going forward. And that now, as we get into this week and we talk about a real game in Baltimore on Sunday, this is where the head is at, where it's like, okay, now let's see if we can join that upper echelon, because right now it is Kansas City, Baltimore. Those are the top 2. Cincinnati the last 2 weeks is probably sneaking up there just because of what they've done the last couple of years. But there is room. There's certainly room.
The great Scarlet.
Oh.
Yeah.
And his boy Dabo.
Yeah.
Dabo, too. Big
yeah.
win for
Clemson.
Dabo. Big win for Dabo.
2-0. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
2-0 weekend for Scarlet.
He was, let me tell you something. He was, when I saw him earlier.
Chesty Scarlet?
He was basically like floating down the hall. He was so happy. So pleased.
Oh, that is good.
This is why you can't there's so much beyond just the joy of the program.
I'll come back on Victory Mondays. Paratrooping
That'll
on
be
Victory
what you'll
Monday.
do as a Victory Monday?
Yeah, that's all you need. It's safe. Unless you go to Germany. Then I'm in. I want to go to Frankfurt.
He's not even listening.
He doesn't care. He's moved on. He's
trying to ruin our pure joy.
No, you brought it up. I wasn't bringing anything up.
Because I thought it was
a pretty good.
I thought it was a great opportunity for you to be like, dude,
it's
I am
the first thing
so
I think of at 2 o'clock in the
in.
morning. Oh, we won. Bo will be in today.
I'll be here. I'll be here.
That's
Otherwise,
good. I don't have to talk him into coming.
We got to get the
I don't
Ibs
have
boys.
to bribe him into being here today.
Stefanski 20-10 at home since 2020.
Yeah, we've been good for the faithful. But now we got to go on the road and we got to stack wins. You know, the stat that we put out, we have not been great following a win. We've been elite following a loss. You saw the graphic that CBS put up yesterday. It was Stefanski, John Madden.
Yeah.
And I forget who the other one was. But the 3 best coaches winning percentage in the Super Bowl era coming off of a loss. Like, that's incredible.
That was incredible.
But now we got to do it after a win. This is a big one, and we'll have plenty of time to get in this, and we'll dissect this one thoroughly.
Yeah. Are we going to do Kadri? Are we having him on? I don't know if I want him on this week, Gibbe. I don't know if we want Chesty Kadri on.
That's fine.
No,
I've got other options.
Yeah, because I feel like he's going to be. He was not Chesty earlier in this season.
No, now he's.
But I think he's going to be real.
We don't need that. We're fine. Listen, I'm not afraid though.
I'm not either, but
fear.
I'm always like, oh, here we go.
Okay, all right.
Okay. We can get Zrebeck on.
There we go.
Zrebeck, great.
Zrebeck, fantastic.
The Z brothers.
And then if we win, we can have Kadri on Monday.
Yes, I would like that.
That I would like.
You'll come to work. Kadri will join the show.
We'll all do it. We'll all join together.
That'd be fantastic.
On Monday. The Joe Thomas half hour coming up in the second hour of the program. Coming up next, Kevin Stefanski's meeting with the media. We're off and running on a Victory Monday edition. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, sports betting partner. Your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Bo here for my team at Renew Home Exteriors. Now introducing Ascend composite clad siding featuring a beautiful deep grain look, 20 available colors. Keep that just installed look for a lifetime with this low maintenance siding. Plus with Renew price match guarantee, you're going to be assured you receive the best price for your exterior project even after you buy. Renew Home Exteriors, superior products and superior service. Visit renewestimate.com for more. And now go to the podium and Kevin Stefanski.
Okay.
You're down.
Marquise Goodwin is in concussion protocol. Jed Wills is going to go to IR with an MCL injury. It's not season ending, so expect him to work real hard in his rehab and get him back. On the game itself, really dominant performance there by our defense in particular. I thought offensively, proud of the guys having a clean slate, not turning the ball over, not giving the ball away, which had been, obviously we've done too often this season. So have a clean game that way. And then I thought Corey was outstanding in the field position game. So a lot that was really, really good. We're watching the film now with the players, learning from it, and then we'll turn our attention to Baltimore. And with that, I'll take any questions.
Kevin, just wondering with Jed out for at least the next 4 weeks, will you consider possibly using DeWand over there, or do you think you'll maintain the status quo on the right side and use James possibly at left tackle?
We'll work through all those things this week, Mary Kay. Just talk with the coaches about it and then practice, but we have options.
Hey, Kevin, would James be the other starter, whatever side it is?
Yeah, James is our swing tackle, so he's the next guy in. But those are all things that we'll work through this week.
And then how do you think Jed's been progressing, especially the last few games coming off the bye?
Yeah, Jed's played some really strong games for us. I thought he was playing well in that last one yesterday as well. So disappointed for him, but I know he'll work really hard, and we'll get him back out there.
Kevin, your record as Browns coach, you are now 18-6 after losses. And a lot of that was built on the 2020 season when you didn't lose 2 games in a row that year. So did you pick this knack up somewhere along the coaching trail, or how do you attribute that record of winning games immediately after losses?
You hope not to lose any of them, Tone. You're trying to go 1-0 each week. Players do a good job of keeping the focus on the current week. Whether you win, lose, or draw the previous week, it really can't affect the next one.
Another question is about Deshaun Watson. He seemed to be looser on the longer passes. The shorter ones, even earlier, go back to before the injury, the touch passes seem to have been a challenge to him. Do you see that, and what do you attribute that to? I
don't. I get to see him in practice. I get to see him in games. You're going to have some misses. Not many people are throwing 100% on a completion percentage. So, but the balls that he threw, 2 in particular stick out. The one to Amari, the deep one, and then the earlier play action to Amari in stride. I thought he made really good decisions, but he's good. He's a good player, and he made some big plays for us yesterday.
Yeah, Kevin. Do you think you found a punt returner in Prochet?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, this week. But I thought he made good decisions, got vertical. So we'll see.
Hey, Kevin, obviously you don't have Deshaun Sunday, but what else can you pick up from that first Baltimore game other than switching quarterbacks to have a better result?
Yeah, it's every team you kind of change as the season goes on, so I'm sure they're going to be doing things a little bit differently. I know you always have guys in and out of the lineup on both sides, so matchups may be different in certain areas. So those are the things that we'll get started on this afternoon.
Hey, Kevin, I wanted to ask about those running backs too. Just the ability to kind of use all those different guys, different types of runners, just not even throughout the game, but just on a single drive. How valuable is that for you guys?
Yeah, well, I think, it's a testament to the players that they understand different spots that we're going to put them in. There's versatility in that room. Stump does a really nice job in game of getting the right guy in there on certain plays and then understanding which guy is called for in a given moment. But we really like the versatility in that room. Those guys can really do a bunch of different things. It's not like they're one whole players, so to speak. So we'll continue to use them as such.
And I think I've heard you say that you want your punter to be a weapon. So how valuable has Corey been for you guys?
Yeah, he was a weapon yesterday. I just think, a couple of those were hit really, really well. You're going to be in some field position games. And, I thought him, Corey and the punt unit really set their offense up in some disadvantageous field position.
Hey, Kevin, the takeaways have really come in bunches for you guys the last 3 games. It seemed like yesterday, obviously, taking advantage and not giving the ball away either. But what do you think has been the difference over these last 3 in particular with that?
You have to be given some opportunities, and then you have to make the most of those opportunities. We talk a lot about turning sacks into sack fumbles. So I thought that was an awesome job getting the ball out there by Shelby. That's 7 points right there for the team. So I think with turnovers, we work them every day. First thing we do at practice. But you also have to play really sound defense. If you do your job on defense, typically you're going to be in a good spot to have an opportunity to make a play.
And then one of those guys who caused those, obviously, Taki. Just how has he been dealing with that hamstring injury? I mean, it looked like he didn't really have any setbacks with that yesterday, and it was his first interception since the 2020 season. So to see him make that play.
Yeah, it was great. He played really well for us yesterday. He's a physical football player. He played sideline to sideline, and then again had an opportunity and went up and got the ball.
Kevin, going back to Corey for a second, and how we've seen Dustin throughout the season, but how have you seen the special teams as a unit just kind of increase their production and just grow throughout the season?
Yeah, I think as an entire unit, I think the guys are understand what we want to do. It wasn't perfect yesterday. Had a couple uncharacteristic penalties that hurt us. But I think each unit, each phase of the special teams unit is understanding all the things that Bubba and Bravo are trying to instill in our team. They play with great effort. They play with, an understanding, fundamentals, techniques, those type of things. And I think we can only get better in that unit.
Kevin, as far as your receiver situation goes, it seems like it's Cooper and everybody else. I mean, Cooper's the only one who's caught a touchdown pass. Do you think that's a reflection of your instability at quarterback this season, and that everybody's just leaning on Cooper and not distributing the ball like they would be if you had consistency at that position?
Yeah, I don't know that I really spend a lot of time thinking about the stats of it. I think we know the opposing team knows Amari's a good football player. He gets a ton of attention. That opens up other opportunities, but like we talked about yesterday, the ball goes where the ball goes. It's just based on coverage. All our guys are doing what they're supposed to do. And when the ball finds their way, we have a ton of trust in all of our receivers, tight ends, you name them.
Hey, Kevin, I had 2 quick ones on the defense. Besides the no points given up, what did you think was either your favorite or the most important
30
of those defensive stats?
Yeah, I think the run game, you take the quarterback scramble out of the run numbers, and it was impressive. And we knew that was going to be the game, understanding playing a rookie quarterback. We knew they were going to try to run the ball, take some pressure off of him. They've had success running the football. They have Yelda, they have Will Hernandez, some bigger offensive linemen, and the ability to really stop the run was a job well done and really just a great execution of the game plan.
You're up.
All right, there you go, Coach from the podium on a Victory Monday. Come out to Razzles Olmsted Falls this Thursday, November 9th, 7 to 8. Hear our Coaches Show live and meet Anthony Walker Jr. We'll be meeting with fans, signing autographs throughout the night. It's brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to Sunday, easy to enjoy. Gibbe's Backyard. What are you going to do for the people, Gibbe? You going to put on a little show?
So I've got this whole little issue, potentially.
I don't like that.
It's the mother-in-law's birthday as well. My wife's like, we're
bring her to Razzles.
And I was like,
Maybe bring them.
Well,
haven't we met the mother back when I used to do the Coaches Show? Didn't I meet the mother-in-law?
The mother-in-law, yes.
At the
matriarch of the family at
location.
West Park Station.
Yeah.
Well, don't forget, she just had open heart surgery.
That's right.
So we're kind of
yeah, I might not want to.
Yeah,
I got you.
Yeah. Now the rest of the family, the brother-in-laws, they're going to be like,
we're ready to
go.
go.
Live.
Let's go.
And then that leads to a very long Friday.
Kid. Yeah, there's a switch that has to be shut off.
More concerning is the fact that Uno's planning some kind of reunion tour for his volleyball team who plays there.
Hold on,
wait. A reunion tour for Uno's volleyball team?
Yes, my whole volleyball team.
Uno, what are you talking about volleyball? Are you like Karch Karai?
God, I love Karch Karai.
Okay,
St. John Smith?
I don't know who those people are.
What?
That's
oh my God.
step number 1.
Oh my God! You need to Google Karch Karai.
You need to Google
That's
Karch
what
Karai
you need to aspire
immediately.
to be.
Yeah,
sir.
you want to be
little
Karch
Steve
Karai.
We have
Timmons.
a little beer league team at Razzles, and they all want to be there to.
Oh, so your people will be there.
Yes, all of my people.
Oh my God, we're gonna meet the entourage.
The entourage.
The entourage.
I love it.
Yes, they will all be there.
That's
The
fantastic.
entourage is gonna be there.
What could go wrong?
Nothing.
Nothing. Are you
Pure
Just
kidding?
like
driving.
you not showing up.
That's right. What could go wrong? Nothing to see here.
Oh my goodness.
All
the
right,
entourage.
lots more to get to on the breakdown of this one. The Joe Thomas half hour coming up at 1:00. We'll have some of the great clips of the game coming up next, and a defensive performance that was, quite frankly, pretty historic. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. There's been several times today where when I hear Paul's voice, I think, am I sure I'm in the right place at the right time when I hear the voice, because I'm used to hearing that voice quite often in the mornings. And then that one was even more because it's a Denzel Ward. So it's like, wait a second. This 2000? We 99? What year is this?
So I was able to, on the broadcast after that, I said, it had to be pretty cool that you called Denzel Ward interceptions in college and now in the National Football League. And Paul said it was. And then after the game, I found Denzel and I said, I don't know if you know who was on the call with me today. And he said, no. And I said, Paul Keels. He goes, really?
Yeah.
I said, yeah. So we got to call an interception in the pros. He goes, that's awesome. I was like, yeah, pretty cool.
It is. And we are very lucky. And here at 850 KNR, you can listen to them both. But like to have the voice, Jim Donovan, and then the voice of the Buckeyes and Paul Keels. And I think that for the kids out there who want to get into content and stuff, entirely different approaches, both entirely honest and authentic to themselves, and both excellent.
Yes.
And that's really the takeaway, I would say, is that they are honest themselves. They're both extraordinary at what they do and both extraordinry beloved.
And do
to
it
the fan
completely
bases.
differently.
Totally different. Couldn't be different.
Couldn't be more different.
But both could not be better.
Correct.
Yeah, it was good. So that
was cool. It was cool to get to work with him.
Yeah, he's a good one. This
couldn't be a nicer guy either. Like tremendous, human.
Ego, like just
tremendous, human.
Awesome dude. Yeah. Very, very good guy. One of the best. We're lucky to have two of them calling football games on Saturdays and Sundays here. This defense, you keep looking at things. You were in the break. You said, I don't think M.J. Emerson was targeted.
He wasn't.
Like Cam Mitchell's is ridiculous.
He is great, and
they just
he's
keep
tough.
coming in waves, this defense.
Well, let's just go ahead and give Andrew Berry some credit, because yesterday we had 7 sacks. Now, they took half of one away from Dalvin. So
do you guys remember when we did sacks, interceptions, fumbles, and I said, you guys both correctly went over. I said, what was the number that would have made you think about it? I think you guys both said 5.5, but it was.
I said it was like
9. What do we have? 9?
10. 7 sacks, 3 takeaways. Yeah, the old double digit. Think about it. Dalvin Tomlinson, new to this defense. He had 3. Shelby sack strip fumble, 4. Zadarius Smith, new. He had 1. That's 5. And how about you remake? And the fact that you can now run these defensive tackles in waves. Jordan Elliott's playing the best he's had. Maurice Hurst didn't have a sack, but he had 3 pressures and a couple tackles in the backfield. This team is playing at such a level, and the fact that they can come in waves and they can all be fresh, I think is so cool. And Shelby, Dalvin, Elliott, those guys in the middle, and Zadarius. I love that Zadarius is finally getting some sacks. Every week now, he's been leading us in pressures the last few weeks. He's awesome. Taki gets his second regular season interception. I saw him at his locker after the game, and I said, I was fired up, man. Second career interception. He goes, that's my 3rd. I said, yeah, but the way that they count it, the playoff stats don't count. Of course, we would be remiss not to remember his interception in Pittsburgh and the Browns' wild card win over the Steelers. But they don't.
He's really grown into be a hell of a player.
Yes.
I mean, I remember Elliott Wolf, who was one of the guys who was big on drafting him. I remember him coming in here and talking to us about Talk, and he saw the tape and liked what he saw and all of that. And him and Mac were in the same draft, and Mac was on the field quicker, sooner. But we've always loved Talk. He had the injury, obviously, but he's been one of those guys who's just has been a pro's pro and is now someone who is critical, who is counted on. It's just cool to see that type of growth in a player.
Yeah, and that's when you know that you've done a good job in the drafting of him and assembling this team. And I go back to it, Rodney McLeod's a great piece to this team. We played that big dime a lot in this game. Anthony Walker Jr. continues to be such a stud and a leader for this football team. And although he may have cost Denzel his second interception of the game when he undercut that slant, but which was a good defensive play by AWOC, but may have cost him there. And JOK is even, he leads the team. He's got 10 tackles for loss. The Browns in this one had 7 sacks and 10 tackles for loss, which is just wild numbers.
Grant Delpit had a game.
Grant Delpit's a beast.
He's a stud.
It's
going to be interesting to see what happens with Pro Bowl, because there's a lot of guys in this operation.
He's a guy right now that I would love to wake up tomorrow and see that the Browns have signed Grant Delpit to an extension. I think the longer that it goes, the more his price goes up.
I agree, yeah, because he does this.
He leads the team in tackles.
We get this book all the time on a Monday, and you look at it, and you go to the top list for tackles, and he's there. And it's not just that; it's tackles for loss, a half sack. Like
He's got a pick this
Yeah.
year. Yeah. Last year
He's a
he's one. There
playmaker.
were only 3 players in the league last year that had 100 tackles and 4 picks. He was one of them.
Yeah, he's a dude. He's absolutely a dude.
Well documented.
Yeah, we've liked him a lot for a very, very long
On this
time.
program.
That's correct. Pet Supplies Plus giving you the chance to win tickets to home games all season long while providing the best deals for your pet at over 75 locations throughout Ohio. Enter to win tickets at clevelandbrowns.com/Pet Supplies Plus and receive a coupon to use at your local Pet Supplies Plus with your entry. Pet Supplies Plus is a proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Now, your great clip of the game presented by Great Clips. It's going to be great. Here it is, Sione Takitaki's interception from our Spanish broadcast play-by-play voice, the great Rafa. Here it is from La Mega Media.
Y es 1º y 10 desde la yarda 40 en territorio enemigo. Arizona en formación escopeta con Clayton Tune. A la izquierda lo escolta Rondell Moore. Atrás a pasar. Busca por la derecha. ¡Pase interceptado! ¡Sione! ¡Taki, taki, baby! ¡Sí, señor! La primera intercepción de Taki Taki. Y así de fácil los Browns de Cleveland de nuevo a la ofensiva. Tercer error de balón del equipo de Arizona y es Sione Taki Taki.
I mean, okay, if I'm Talk, I'm getting that, and that is going to be my answering machine on my phone.
It's so good.
It's a ringtone.
That's
Taki
everything.
Taki.
Sione Taki Taki,
Baby.
That is amazing.
Baby.
That's awesome.
Not even a glance from Tequila Feel on a
He
Victory
feels like he's
Monday.
focused. He feels like he's got a lot going on over there.
He's in search of hydration at the moment.
Yeah, that was good.
That was great.
That's a very good job. Are you, when you watch, and this happened throughout the league, and we saw this Arizona operation yesterday, obviously firsthand. The amount of just incompetent offensive play because of injury to the quarterback position around this league. I mean, it happened. There's a lot of games like this in the 1 o'clock window, especially. There isn't enough quarterback depth in the sport at the moment, which is crazy because everyone's running the same stuff.
Yep.
All these college teams are running the same stuff. I don't know if the best athletes aren't getting to the positions or they're quitting football, but right now there's a real lack of quality quarterback talent going around the National Football League. It's not just Arizona. There's a half dozen of them.
Well, Clayton Tune is a guy that was at least maybe there's something there, and that was obviously a very tough environment.
Tough
and there's
spot.
a reason why they didn't play Kyler Murray this week.
Smart on them.
And they knew it going in. You know, we got to talk. Drew Petzing was down there, who was our former quarterback coach, now their OC, and they were aware that this was going to be.
And that's something like in a game like football, like going into it, knowing that really everything has to be perfect.
Well, I'll tell you the 2 times where I've had a coach on the other team that I obviously knew well from their time here, where they said, "Yeah, it's going to be tough today." The first was Justin Fields, and the second was this
malfeasance.
one. It was coaching malfeasance.
They almost broke the kid in one game.
9 franchise record. I think we had 9 sacks that day.
He had
Miles
no chance.
4.5.
Yeah, that was the famous Bootsy snubbed by the dog.
Snubbed by Chomps.
Chomps snubbed him.
Yeah, very sad.
To near tears.
To near tears, indeed. Like the fact that we are living in an era in which Tommy DeVito is being allowed to play, and I have nothing against him, don't know his story, his background, but he is clearly incapable of playing quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that should have been readily apparent the week before.
Yeah.
Like, how do you got to go get Flacco, Carson Wentz, see if Nick Foles wants to play.
That's what it is, right? It's that they don't want to pay what those guys cost.
But now it's half of a season at the league minimum.
Right.
Like, at least you have a chance.
You'd think. Yeah. Yeah. We know why it is. You know, if you have a quarterback you're paying and it goes bad.
Well, the Giants are.
My God, Brett Rippon. Okay. I don't know how you called that one, but I did pick the Rams, but that was thinking Stafford was playing.
Yeah.
No one in their right mind is taking the Rams without Stafford.
No.
That's got to be thrown out. I don't need a win for it, but that's got to be thrown out of the.
Well, we only
because you would never have.
So you want that? You want that?
I want that
stricken.
Yes, there's no way that I'm. Who's going to sit up? Oh yeah, Brett Rippon. Go.
No.
Come
Yeah.
on. No.
No, you're right. You're right.
The thinking was Stafford.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Maybe it's.
Were you with me?
I had Green Bay.
Did you have Green Bay?
I had Green Bay the whole time.
Yeah, well, it's generous of you.
Yeah.
But like, come on, like no one would have. No one's doing.
I think I actually I may have had a pretty decent week.
In picking college football and NFL money line, I only missed one all weekend.
All right,
Just
so
picking
hold on.
winners.
Here, come through this. Come through it with me real quick.
Here, hold on. I got it.
Get the scores. Kansas City, we both got. Seattle, we both missed.
Sometimes my morning and afternoons are different.
Yeah.
But boom, Tampa Bay got. Did you see that one?
What was the final on that?
Houston won by 2.
Because they didn't kick the extra point? Because they didn't.
Yep.
So I thought Houston won that one.
I picked New Orleans to win, but they did not.
They did not.
They won. They just didn't.
Maybe this wasn't that good.
Might not have been.
No, Atlanta. We both had Atlanta.
And they did or didn't?
They did not. They got smoked.
Oh yeah. They got that's Teddy.
Dobbs.
Washington got.
Yep.
Vegas got. Indy got. Philly got. Cincy got.
Yeah.
And then Ram. I need stricken.
Ram stricken. Yeah.
So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, and 3.
And I have 7. I have 7 right now.
Yeah, but it's. Yeah, no. I mean, it's a lot of like.
By the way, Dallas. Dallas should have. What are we doing?
Well, the worst.
That was outrageous.
So a couple other things real quickly here, just around the league. The what was it? What was the other one I was going for? Quarterbacks. Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs shows up Tuesday. We know Josh well. He's incredibly bright, like borderline brilliant, genius type bright guy.
I'm glad we're going to talk about this because it's awesome.
This guy shows up Tuesday.
It didn't take a rep.
None.
0.
No reps. The post game of it is that Kevin O'Connell is like describing him the play as he's calling it.
So what they said was, number one, he had to teach them his cadence on the sideline. So we've seen that video of him with the center. He'd never taken a snap from the center before.
Nope.
So he's over there with the center taking snaps and teaching them his cadence.
Mm-hmm.
O'Connell would call the play into him and supposedly be like, tell him what he had to say, but then be like, one's running a slant, this guy's running this, blah, blah, blah. He's your first read.
Processes it.
And telling him that in real time until his mic gets shut off, and then he's got to go run the play. And for them to come back, I think he led them to 28 points. Because Hall got knocked out early in that game.
Knocked out early. Yeah.
By the way, happy to have lost that one for Smug McGee to take an L. By the way.
I mean, that's unbelievable to have somebody do that, to have somebody paratroop in. The type of intelligence it takes to do that is off the charts in this game. He also ran for 66 in a score, Dobbs did. He's the reason they won.
100%. He was 20 of 30 for 158,
God.
2 touchdowns, ran for 76 and another touchdown. He is absolutely the reason that they won. He was phenomenal in this game. How about the fact that the Falcons get a turnover down to the 1? They run Algier, a tight end sweep to Jonnu Smith, and then Algier again. If you're going to use the 8th overall pick on a running back, which we know is not smart, that dude needs to be getting all of it at the goal line. And if he's not the guy that you trust in that situation, then it was even worse of a pick.
Then you blew it, boy.
You blew it, boy. They lose with Heineke. Heineke at least brought some life to their passing game, but unreal. That's
so that
unreal.
one went right down to the wire in that 4:00 window,
Yeah.
And then you had Bake played really well for Tampa Bay, marched him down. They get a touchdown. There's under a minute to go. D'Amico Ryans, to their credit, like they had 2 timeouts, but it wasn't like they were saving them. Like they used the middle of the field a couple of times.
Yeah.
Then they used their timeouts. Then Stroud hits a dot in the back of the end zone for the game winner. He ends up 470 and 5 touchdowns against the Bucks in that one. So that one was finishing at that time as well. So there was a lot of fun ball that was happening. By the way, the easiest one, you and I both emphatically when we saw the Raiders number.
Yes.
Like that was the
automatic easiest
of the week.
Easiest of the week.
Yeah. Like, come on. You knew that's how that would go.
Easiest of the week.
Those guys bouncing around now that they got out from under the
yoke. Did you see them smoking cigars post-game?
And among other things.
Among other things.
Because I believe in Las Vegas.
Yeah, but in the National Football League, I don't think that you can do that.
Well, I think they're going to be in trouble then. It's probably my guess how that'll go. If they are going to be, if that is in fact the case, if that's going to be something that you're going to try to enforce. All right, the Joe Thomas half hour of the program is coming up next. Before we get to that, though, OBM, the preferred copiers and document services provider for your Cleveland Browns, will tackle any size office. Call 216-485-2000 or visit ohiobusinessmachines.com. The Joe Thomas half hour of the program coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns fans, Express Beer, presented by Bud Light, brings the same facial authentication technology using Express access to beer purchases in the stadium. Dedicated Express Beer stands are the fastest way to get a beer in Cleveland Browns Stadium. If you're 21 or over, go to the Tickets tab in the Browns mobile app to learn more. Time now for the Joe Thomas half hour of the program, and Joe joins us now. Well, Hoff, look, 5-3 is pretty sweet. The defense is unbelievable, but as Nathan and I started the show, is what we needed to see from our quarterback, and as the game went on, we did. What did you make of Watson's performance in his first full game back since the injury?
Yeah, it was up and down. I think everyone kind of assumed there was still going to be a lot of rust that he was going to have to try to break off. But I think just making some of those nice throws down the field, those type of deep balls that we don't have anybody else on the roster that can make, that really stretches the field for this offense, that's exactly what you wanted to see. You realized that completion percentage wasn't going to be flawless. He was going to have some tough throws. There was going to be some cobwebs, I think, that you had to work through with that shoulder, because it was probably pretty sore out there, no matter what you do to get ready on game day when you're coming off of an injury like that and you're trying to throw the pill. You're going to have some soreness there, but I think moving through that, playing better as the game wore on, and then hitting some of those throws and getting that rapport with your receivers is what you wanted to see. So I feel like you walked out of that game feeling happy and comfortable. You weren't ecstatic, but you felt pretty good.
Yeah, I felt like you got more confidence as the game went on, which you alluded to. That final ball to Amari Cooper, I think, is as good a ball that was thrown in the National Football League yesterday. If he can hit those shots, we just got to have to kind of up the efficiency on some of those short ones. But that gives this offense an opportunity to be quite dangerous if he's able to push the ball down the field. And you look at his last 2 full games, 4 touchdowns, no picks. That's the most important. No turnovers at all by Deshaun Watson, a rating in the 110s and 70% completions. That's good enough for this team to be really effective, right?
Yeah, and the outing still felt a little like helter-skelter at times with Deshaun. He's not throwing in rhythm as much as you'd like to see, but I think the big thing was just getting on the same page with some of those deep shots, getting better as the game wore on. And with as good as this rushing game is looking right now, I mean, don't look now, but they're still rushing the ball at an incredible clip, even without Nick Chubb. I think they've really found something with the balance of Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford. And they just really have a good thing going running the ball. I mean, Nick Harris in the backfield, I want to make him a fullback full-time. I mean, it's just fun seeing him out there. And I think as long as they have that threat from the quarterback position that, hey, at any moment he can rip this thing 65 yards down the field to Amari Cooper, there's a dangerous chance of play action pass. Like, that keeps your defense honest. That keeps them on their toes. And I think that continues to open up the run game. And that's exactly the type of performance and threat that you need if you want to win against some of the better teams in the NFL, like they got the Ravens coming up.
Yeah, it certainly is. And you mentioned Nick Harris. We had another injury, this one to Jed Wills on the left side, not season-ending, thankfully, but 6 weeks or so. And Z and I were talking about this before the show started. And, what's the best way to try to bridge this gap between now and then and he returns? And we all remember how well Joel Bitonio played at left tackle in an emergency situation. What would you do here? I mean, Nick's obviously played center. You could put him back in there. Joel could go out wide left, or do you go with Hudson? What would be your choice in terms of trying to get to the point until Jed's healthy again in 6-7 weeks?
Yeah, I'd like to see Hudson out there. I think that he's always been put in a tough spot coming in, especially in this game where he had to play left tackle, had to play right tackle. You're bouncing back and forth. You're already coming into a difficult situation as the backup, but now you got to play both sides, which, man, it's hard enough to go one whole game and then have to flip and play on the other side rather than having to do it in the same game is like impossible. So I still believe in James, and I'd like to see him get the opportunity with a full week of practice and have a full game out there to see what he can do. And I always am more of a believer in the fewest amount of position switches on the offensive line,
right,
the better. And so rather than having to make 3 moves to try to get a little bit better at all these positions, like, let's put James out there. Let's hope he can play continued better football every time he goes out there. Keep those guys on the inside exactly where they are. I think that's the best version of the Browns offensive line that we're going to have.
How hard would it be, with DeWand to maybe make that switch? And in your mind, he's playing so, in my mind anyway, he's playing so well at right tackle. I don't know that I'd want to move him even if it wasn't a big challenge for him.
Yeah, I think because you see just as many, if not more, good pass rushers over the right tackle than you do the left tackle these days. Back when I first started, everybody put their best pass rusher over the left tackle because, the book The Blind Side had just come out, and they realized that, hey, quarterbacks can't see it out of the back of their helmet, so let's put our best guy over there because then, that gives us the best chance of a surprise sack fumble type play. But then everybody put their best tackle out there, and then it was a stalemate. Then you were kind of wasting your best chess piece, and so then everyone said, okay, screw that. We'll just put him at right tackle, put him over the right tackle. And so now I think really it doesn't matter if you're a left or a right tackle. I just want to see those guys at their best position, most natural position, and because DeWand, Big Thanos, has been playing so well out there at right tackle, I'd hate to move him right now in the middle of the season and have him play worse and then have James play the same whether he's right or left tackle. So I think their best bet is keep Big Thanos up there at right tackle and put James at left tackle.
Z and I were talking earlier about, it feels like there's some things that are certainly known around the league, and it's, Kansas City in large part because of their defense is really good, and obviously Baltimore's been lights out. We got a situation with Cincinnati now where they've stacked two, right? They look kind of like how they've looked the last two seasons at the end. It feels like no one knows exactly what to do with us, and Z said something I thought was really smart. He said, look, our defense keeps the floor really high. Watson will determine the ceiling. What do you make of this team at 5-3 with all of the losses, all the injuries? Hoff, we were saying, hell, even if everybody was healthy, would have taken 5-3 at this point based on who we've played. How do you know what to make of this Browns team, big picture, top of the AFC conversation?
Yeah, what I make of them right now is this feeling that we all have as Browns fans that we don't like where the team is. But you mentioned it, 5-3. Like that's a great record, especially consider the schedule that you've had to play. So that the eye test, based on what we've seen out there, is that this team has so much talent. This team can be so great. And that's why I think there's that feeling of emptiness a little bit of being 5-3. And until we put it together and we smash a team like the Ravens maybe this weekend, right, where you have your quarterback play well and you beat the Ravens, then all of a sudden now you're feeling like, okay, this is our team. We're not going to tell anybody about it because we'd like to sneak up on a few people, but this is a team that can really do some damage because if your quarterback plays well with the defense that we have right now, there is nobody in the NFL that could play with us.
It's true, and that's why you can get excited about it, Hoff. How about you mentioned this defense? Clayton Tune was obviously put in a very, very difficult spot. They were overmatched, and it's probably reminiscent of some things you saw at times playing left tackle for the Cleveland Browns when there was a quarterback that just was out of their depth, didn't have the playmakers around to lift them up, and you're playing an electric defense. But when you hold team to 58 yards and 1 yard of play, 7 sacks, 3 takeaways, you can only play what's in front of you. But what did you make of this performance and the dominance, especially with a lot of those new faces on the defensive line?
Well, my stomach flew a little bit here today, run through the family, but I think mine's just from watching that quarterback play from the Cardinals yesterday. It did remind me of a lot of guys that I played for because this is exactly what happens with every young quarterback, right? They go out there, they're full of piss and vinegar, they're feeling great about the game plan because they went and just sliced and diced their walk-through defense on Saturday that was wearing flip-flops and a baseball hat. And all of a sudden they go out there and it's an NFL defense that's not giving them every play that was on the card. And they make a mistake, and now they start questioning their own confidence. And they're like, oh, crap, I don't want to throw 5 picks, right? So what do? They eat the ball for about 15 sacks. And then as soon as the defense, like Jim Schwartz's, especially with the guys that we got rushing the quarterback, they smell rookie quarterback. He's nervous, hanging onto the ball, doesn't want to throw a pick, doesn't clearly see what the defense is, so he's not sure where the ball needs to go. Like, that's blood in the water. I mean, they're throwing chum to an already big circling shark frenzy right now. So, I mean, it was fun being on this side of it, but I had some chills going to bed thinking about living through that scenario a bunch of times in my life with those rookie quarterbacks.
I mean, it's repeated throughout the league, too, Hoff. I mean, there's a lot of bad ball right now. There's not enough quarterbacks to go around. You saw it in the 1 o'clock window. There's just not enough guys who can get it done. When we take and turn our page now and the attention to Baltimore, they've been a behemoth the last 2 weeks. They absolutely put it on Detroit. They put it on Seattle this weekend. Everything is clicking for them offensively. I'm sure you're keeping an eye on them, as we all do. What have you made about what this Ravens team is and the type of challenge we'll have on Sunday?
Well, I think Todd Monken deserves a lot of credit thus far from taking Lamar and making him an elite throwing quarterback. And it's not just run around, dump the ball off to Mark Andrews anymore. Like, they're hitting shots down the field. They're hitting guys in rhythm. He's playing from the pocket. He's still dangerous when he does take off and get outside the pocket, extending plays, which will be a real challenge for the Browns. But I don't know. I feel like we're in a really good spot right now because in the NFL, every team changes so much from week to week. It's really hard to take a lot carryover from one Sunday to the next. But I think where the Browns are, you're catching a Ravens team that is super hot, but they're starting to feel themselves a little bit. And let's remember, this team, this defense specifically, has been built to stop Lamar Jackson. I mean, that was the foundation that we put together when Paul DePodesta started talking about his vision about speedy linebackers, right? Safeties that are big enough that you can put in the box, that can spy, that can be an extra set of eyes on your quarterback, Lamar Jackson. Defensive line that gets up the field that's disruptive. Guys that swarm to the football. I mean, that's who we are on defense. I think we'll see a little bit more zone coverage than they play in thus far because it's just so dangerous to play man when you got a running quarterback. Because if they do get through that first line of defense and they're running on the field, the guys that are in man coverage have their back turned to him, so they can't be of great assistance. So you're going to see, I think, a little different version of the call sheet from the defense this week. But I think personnel-wise, we're built to stop Lamar Jackson, and that's what makes me really excited.
Yeah, this is a big one. And really the next two, if you kind of look at them in some, going 2-0 would be monstrous. Catapults you to 7-3, catapults you to 3-2 in the division, and would be huge for your prospects, right? But I think it's imperative you at least get a split. You got Baltimore, then home for the Pittsburgh Steelers. You got to find a way to get one of those two, Hoff. For this team, how important do you see this 2-game stretch? And, kind of what would be your mentality for the guys knowing that, okay, we did 5-3, given everything we've been through, is awesome, but now we got to make that count here over these final 9 games.
Yeah, it's time to cash in your chips, right? You set yourself up right here for 5-3 to go play Baltimore and Pittsburgh, your two biggest rivals right there in your division. You want to be serious about being a title contender this year, which I think they do, and I think they have the defense that can do it. Go prove it right now. I think the Ravens are probably considered the best team in football right now, maybe the Chiefs. I think people would argue that the Ravens are the hottest. So you go beat them. Like, that's the way you get a statement made in the NFL, and you get people to look at you and respect you. And I think, to me, if I go into the mentality of the guys in the locker room, you win that game, you're going to go out of that and say, you know what, we totally gave one to Pittsburgh at the beginning of the season. They're not even good enough to hold our jock. And we're tired of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, they've been sneaking wins all season long, finding a way. Don't even let them hang around. We're just going to smash them from start to finish. And you build on the momentum that hopefully they can start with by beating the hottest team in football right now. And, as a player, you can't get out of yourself thinking like that. But I hope that we do win this weekend, and then that's the first thought that those guys have. Because I think that's the first thing that their mind is going to go to is like, hey, we owe these guys one. And they know that they got away with one last time and that it ain't going to happen again. And it could be a bloodbath from start to finish.
Hoff, how formidable is what the sickness that is going on in your household? How close are you guys to defeat? How resilient are you showing at this moment?
I feel like we've been defeated. I think the white flag has been raised.
They've won.
Yeah,
what happened between raw egg, pure joy, and this? It must be the last 12 to 18 hours that have to be disastrous.
Just off a cliff.
Disastrous. Well, the crazy thing is, right? So Friday night, my son goes to the Badger hockey game. He comes home and he throws up about midnight. which we're like, okay, he went with his buddy who, Emmett Earl, his dad played. He was actually like the Hobie Baker Award winner, I think, at Wisconsin. His dad played in the NHL a bunch of years. So anyways, I'm like, okay, he probably drank too much pop and ate cotton candy and Skittles. Kids that are 7, they don't have a governor. They don't know how to shut it off when they got a couple bucks in their pocket and the concession stand is lighting their eyes up. But then I made the parental mistake of listening to him when he said he feels better and that he's not sick anymore. And so I brought him into bed with us after he threw up. So then at 1:30 in the morning, now he's throwing up on me and my dad.
Oh, my God.
And then this is what proves that children are not real. They're just figments of our imagination. That video that I took, that I sent of him chugging the raw egg in the milk, in the whole milk, was 6 hours after he threw up on me in bed with the flu, and he was feeling fantastic. He went outside before the Browns game started, pretended to be Deshaun Watson in the backyard, and threw the ball to himself and was working on his play-action drop.
Fine.
So he was totally fine. It was unbelievable. And people in my life that know that our family's got the flu right now are like, well, are you sure it's not salmonella from all those kids drinking egg? I go, the egg was after Jack had the flu. It was not before.
Yeah, right.
So there's no way that he got free stick because he knew he was going to chug a raw egg. But I'm so proud of them that they just sucked it up and they were like, Dad, let's go. Anything for the Brownies. We're chugging raw eggs on Sunday morning. It was beautiful. But yeah, Sunday morning, okay. Sunday night, not so good. No boss. The 3 other kids got sick, puking. Mommy and Daddy, we felt okay until we woke up with 1 hour of sleep this morning, and then now I hit the dust. So Annie's the lone survivor. We'll see how long she survives.
God bless Annie. Stay strong for the Thomas family. She's the last remaining stronghold.
I wish we could give you a hug from a distance.
No, this has been good enough. This has been a warm hug through the telephone line, so I appreciate it, guys.
Dude,
all right, Huff.
Feel better.
Get well, Huff.
All right, guys, take care.
All right, that's a joke. You could tell. Like he didn't have his normal
No,
pep in
it
his
wasn't
step.
the zest.
Yeah, it was there. It was there. So defeat. Sometimes it happens, even for the most formidable of opponents. All right, coming up next, we'll hand out some game balls, go around the AFC North as well, and what is becoming a very, very, well, we knew it would be a very competitive, stingy division. That's coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Your game plan for this season includes buying or selling a home. Howard Hanna has the answer, delivering a winning strategy for breaking down the game of real estate. The market leaders in Northeast Ohio. More buyers and sellers trust Howard Hanna to be their winning home team. Visit howardhanna.com/go Browns today. Daylight savings time is for the birds, man.
I couldn't hate it any less.
Which one? We were in daylight savings time, and now we're in standard now? Is that how it is? Whatever we were in is where we need to stay. But I'll tell you what. I'm going to be honest with you. Either way, just stick in one. Arizona's doing it right.
Yes. Why
am I adjusting?
Do you know how thrown off I was? I was still thrown off today. I'm still currently thrown off.
I woke up at 5:15 thinking I had missed my alarm at 6. And I'm like ready to go. What are we doing?
Yes.
Awful.
It was ridiculous.
And the kids, it's disaster for them.
It takes 10 days.
It's awful. Yeah. There's zonks.
I don't understand why we can normalize 3 hours going to the West Coast in like a day, because you could just make yourself stay up the first day and then you get on clock. But what we did in essence was fall back 1, which going 1 should be even easier. But it was not.
Well, but mentally you're preparing for that when you go out there, right?
True.
Like you're building that in, and usually set an alarm. I stay up late. You set an alarm the next day, and then you're good to go. You're locked in to that time. But like dark at 5:15 sucks. It's awful.
It's terrible.
It's awful.
I hate it.
No, it'll be dark at 5 o'clock. It's light at. They're like, oh, it's light at 7. I go,
so
no,
what?
it actually wasn't light.
No,
at
I was
7
up.
o'clock
I can
this
tell
morning.
you, it was not.
Yeah.
And by the way,
light. No.
So what?
Who cares?
What's the benefit?
I don't see it.
We don't live in an area where we're waking up at 7 and going golfing this time of year.
No.
So no benefit to us.
None.
Only downside. Like
Only.
it being pitch black at 5:30 is amongst the most depressing parts of living here.
It's really hard. Yeah.
And that's coming.
It happened yesterday. It was
It's already here.
It
was dark 5:20. It was black at 6.
Yeah, like
blacked out at 6. Yeah. Not great.
That's not fun for anybody.
No, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't understand it. I feel like the overwhelming majority of people want it the way that it was before the change.
Everybody wants it.
Rubio, what were you doing? Like, he got the thing through the Senate. Why did it stop?
Got stalled out. Who knows what special interests are controlling.
He got it done. I mean, we had got it. It was through the Senate. I thought we were
So
locked
much
in. We
better.
were done with it.
It was supposed to be done.
So much better. By the way, over the weekend,
yeah,
Art and Drea.
Give it to me.
First time rolling on the freeway.
With you?
With me.
How'd we do?
We're here.
That's not a positive
No, she did
or
very
negative
well.
endorsement.
She did
Were you in
very
the
well.
Tempest?
Yeah, we were in the ride, and
That's Zorro's horse. It's Tempest.
Tempest, yeah. She did a great job. She merged well, because I said you got to merge at or above the speed of traffic. So you got it. Once you're just going, you got to get in there. The only thing she didn't do great on, she was going, it's 60, and she didn't want to go above 65, which I was fine with. I said, that's right. Let's try to keep a consistent speed.
Yep.
When she changed lanes to the right, because I was like, got to practice changing lanes. So she did a lane change, and she did everything right. Mirror. Said on the R's you can look and see if there's a car there, and then you got to look before you go.
Yeah.
And so she did that, but as she did that, we dropped to about 50 miles an hour.
Oh, sure.
Because she was,
Well, and that would only happen in ours too, because when you do that, then it slows way down.
Yeah.
Whereas in another normal car, you would have maintained.
But she did great.
Speed.
She did great.
Good job.
Handled getting off the freeway and all of those things very well. She went from 422 to 271. Great job. Very proud of her.
Nice.
Very proud of her.
We had speaking of children, we had Bootsy's first basketball game of this year was at noon on Saturday. And as is well documented on the show, he's a bit of a gunner. And he very much is your spirit child. Like
he is.
What he would do last year a lot of times would be like, hey, Boots, let's pass to somebody else. And he'd go like this, like thumbs up. Sure. And then next time shoot again. So first time out, like
and you're coaching?
Yeah, help on that particular team helping. But I'm like on him with this stuff. Like, let's go. Like, it's enough. So he ends up going like 3 of 11. And we're in the car ride home. And I go, like he tried sneaking in with his mom so that he didn't have to have the post-game chat with me on the way home. And I said, no, you're with me. So we get in the car. And I go, well, what do you think? And I said, buddy, you're like 3 of 11 from the field. I said, what do you think about that? And he goes, I just think my feet weren't set. And I said, I think maybe we should stop shooting when we're 3 of 11. Such a gunner.
No, Dad, I got to shoot it out. I got to John Starks it out.
I'm going to shoot till shoot till they fall, baby.
Yep. That's right. You got to shoot out of the slump.
got to shoot himself.
Can't
out
make
of it.
shots you don't take, Dad.
That's true. That's true.
Ugh.
I just got to get a better angle. He said, "I got to get a better angle."
Total Zagura move right there.
I don't know that I
Then he
ever had
came
a
up with
3
some
for 11
excuse.
on my docket, Gibby.
He had a situation where he was beefing with the fact that he goes, well, I'm used to playing on 10-foot rims, and they play at like 8.5 at this age so that they shoot correct, which is smart. You should play on.
That also could
shooter.
affect somebody who does shoot on a 10-foot rim.
Right, but like, come on, sort it
3
out.
of 11, maybe pass.
Come on, buddy.
I'm with. I think this is throw us. You want the Rams game thrown out? Throw this.
Throw
out.
that out.
Throw
Throw it
this
out.
out.
Yeah.
That's not regulation.
No,
he's used to playing on regulation.
Yeah.
Like I found, I was a jump shooter, but then you
Mm-hmm.
go and you play on like dunk rims. It was very difficult to be a good shooter on.
There
those.
was one cheat code that I found that would make that when we would do, because I love dunk rims more than anything.
So fun.
Everybody does. I found if I just shot everything that I would normally shoot as a jump shot as a fadeaway, then they would
That
go
helped.
in. Like just like this fade fall away, and then then you get the feel right.
Yeah,
we'll see.
All right,
Gibby, you want to do some game balls?
We can.
Let's do it.
Real quick, I
Yeah.
have a stat.
Give it to me.
And this is more of an around the league, but I don't care. It just stood out to me from John Ledyard.
Okay.
C.J. Stroud
Mm-hmm.
has more career touchdown
yeah.
passes than one Kenny Pickett.
That's right. Yep.
We had 5 yesterday.
I mean,
That's right.
What
on my fantasy team? 2 of them actually. 2 of my 5 leagues. He was my starter yesterday.
What Joe
You
Thomas
won
just
then.
said
You
yesterday,
won.
just said a few minutes ago.
Yeah.
Like I'm not looking ahead, but beat the brakes off of them. Like
Well,
I'm done with this.
That's both. They're not. He's not. He is what I've been saying since they drafted him. We've been saying.
Yes.
Like no one is. He is what you think he is. We said this Friday after the Levis. Like
Yes.
if you give me one of the two, I'll take Levis.
By the way, my Levis over Bryce Young take looks really good. If I was Carolina, I would much rather have Will Levis.
2 pick sixes.
He's
it's tough.
Can't
the
see.
one the pick he threw over the middle was just you can't even defend.
You can't bet on outliers. Like
No.
Everybody's saying he's going to be Steph Curry. Like this isn't basketball.
No, it's not. It's not. And the other thing is you get the feeling that that coaching staff wanted Stroud, like McCown especially wanted Stroud, and ownership wanted Young. Well, if anyone's going to be wrong, it has to be ownership. It can't be you. Otherwise, you're out of a job, and you might be out of a job anyway because they'll probably try to find somebody to make Young work. And I'm not to say that Bryce won't work, but Stroud was a layup. It was a layup. I mean,
I think had Stroud
he was
been
in Ohio State fatigue.
I think if everything was the same except he had a different helmet on, he would have been the first pick.
Yeah, which is wild because Burrow was developed at Ohio State. Like his formidable development was at Ohio State.
LSU gets that credit.
I'm not taking credit for him. I'm just saying, like taking him
Haskins,
from Athens High
Fields.
School to going to the guy he was when he went to Baton Rouge. That's all Ohio State.
Sure,
was that part of it? So yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that was held against. I think Fields and Haskins were held against him for sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't have been.
No.
No.
So it's both that Pickett is what we think it is, and also that C.J. Stroud is
a dude.
Yeah. Straight dude.
Yes, he
That was
is.
a crazy drive. 47 seconds.
I think 49.
49 all the way down for touchdown.
Yeah.
We were talking about it earlier.
By the way, I think our Houston game is no layup. They smoked the Steelers.
Dude, I mean he's really good.
Yes.
And those receivers are Nico Collins is good, Tank Dell's good. They don't really even have a run game, and they're solid, man.
Isn't Noah Brown there too? Didn't Noah Brown have
Noah Brown, who was at Ohio State
Buckeye.
years ago and had a great game against Oklahoma.
By the way, they deserved to win when they had their backup running back make a field goal. That was
We're wondering
awesome.
if that guy's going to take away our special teams player of the week award because we feel like Bojorquez could deserve it. And I'm like, this guy might win it instead. Might give it to the running back who kicked the
That's
field
awesome.
goal.
So at the end of the game, the reason this ended at 2, which is an all-time bad beat, is because they didn't have a kicker. So then did they just kneel?
They kneeled.
They just because they didn't want to risk.
They didn't want to risk a fumble or interception going the other way.
Anything.
So they just kneeled, and it ends at 2. It's the number's 2.5.
Yeah.
And
wow.
And you say to yourself, there's 6 seconds left in the game. Really, the only way we can lose this or to prolong this game, the most likely scenario for this game being prolonged is a fumble or interception on this play.
Or if that listen, this guy's
sometimes-
not a kicker, so you
could
even
slip who knows?
And it's a 30
right
something yard field goal now.
Correct. Yeah. So their thinking was let's just
Take
the knee
yeah.
and then we'll kick it off and they'll have one play, and if we just tackle the lateral, which is what they did, it was the right play.
Yeah, of course.
It was 100% the right play, but it was a brutal beat.
If they have their kicker,
it was going to be the brutal beat the other way because Tampa scores. I mean, like the fact that Tampa lost that game, how do you lose?
Yeah.
49 seconds, 2 timeouts, rookie quarterback. Get a stop, man.
Got to stop.
You know?
Right down the field.
And they had to get a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's not like a field goal would have done it. They had to get a touchdown.
They needed 7.
Yeah, so that one
or
was.
in this case, I guess they needed 6.
They needed 6. Yeah, that was it. All right, game balls, give it. Go ahead.
One from the offensive side from both of you. Zagura, we'll start with you.
On the offense?
Yes, sir.
You got to give it to Amari Cooper. 33rd 100-yard game of his career. Think about that. It's his 8th as a Cleveland Brown. 6 of them have come at home, so that home cooking's been good for Amari. The last 2 games he's played with Deshaun Watson, over 100 yards with a touchdown in both of them. He was electric, and he was the number 1 option, and I thought Deshaun played very, very well, and I'm assuming that maybe is where you're going to go, but I wanted to give Amari Cooper the first game ball.
I would have went Cooper 2 because he's been consistently great this whole year. He's unsung, like naturally he doesn't get the love that he deserves. He's so reliable. He's far more explosive than people realize.
Yes.
Go Deshaun too, and the 2 of them are married, right? Because the play that will be remembered in this game is the play of him splitting the 2 defenders and Deshaun putting it. There's one place that's completed, and he put it right there.
I mean, Amari did not break. It was like the ball caught him. It was a beautiful thing.
I also want to shout out DeJuan Jones for coming back into the game. He was banged up pretty good.
He's a stud.
He is a stud, man.
Was like,
he's a stud.
Yep, I'm going to grind this out. I know we're down a few guys. We got to do this.
Yep.
Defensively, Bishop, why don't you start us off?
There's a couple of ways you can go here, but I'm gonna go with Cam Mitchell.
I like that.
I'm gonna go with Cam Mitchell jumping in for Newsome. Northwestern on Northwestern help there. One Wildcat goes down, another one steps him up. I thought he was extraordinary, especially in a tough spot. When you have MJ and Denzel, you know that people are going to try to attack you. I thought he was great. He's been great all year. He's a stud.
And he tackles well. He plays when you play the nickel in this defense. You've got to be able to tackle in the run game. And
He's not scared of it.
Greg Newsome's done that very well, and Cam Mitchell did. He was great. I think Cam Mitchell's got like a PFF grade in the 90s. Not that we know that there have been a lot of ups and downs with that this season, but nonetheless, that is a strong grade. I think the best 3 grades were Sione Takitaki was number 1, Shelby Harris 2, Cam Mitchell 3. I mean, we had 9 guys graded 83 or above on their system,
awesome.
which is that's outrageous. To put that in context, we didn't have a single guy on offense there. Amari and Deshaun were both at like 78. I'm going to give mine to Dalvin Tomlinson. 2.5 sacks, dominant in the middle. Now, the truth is, 2 of his 3 sacks, there are a couple sacks that were had by others, not named Myles Garrett, that were absolutely a direct result of Myles Garrett forcing the Clayton Tune to step up right into Dalvin Tomlinson. Yeah. Myles is just sensational every week, but Dalvin, we're going to give him the game. Well, that's a big game for the guy in the middle. 2.5 sacks, that's a monster performance. He's not a guy who has a ton of sacks in his career. So to be able to go and have a game like that, I'm pretty sure, I'm going to actually look it up right now. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a career high for him. Also, last night, I love this city so much. I love the fans so much. How awesome was it to see the ovation, the thunderous ovation Myles Garrett got at the Cavs game last night?
So great.
And how many guys could play an NFL game and then go sit courtside?
Well, he's an owner.
At the NBA team they own.
He does own.
And do it in one day.
Part of the ownership group.
And do it in one day.
Yeah.
Who would be, and you can only pick one, who would be your defensive MVP that's not named Myles Garrett?
For the season?
Yep.
Delpit. 3 corners are. I mean,
you could go
MJ's
Delpit,
been unbelievable.
MJ, Denzel. I think Dalvin Thompson.
Dalvin.
Zadarius.
There's a lot. That's what I said. Like Pro Bowl is going to be.
You can only pick one.
Pro Bowl is going to be brutal.
By the way, that
you could have 7 guys off this defense make the Pro Bowl.
Dalvin Tomlinson never had more than 1 sack in a game in his career. That was a new career high, 2.5.
Should have been 3.
Should have been 3. They've got to they've got to get better at that. It's so bad. It's so bad. Anyway, so that was good. Dalvin's one too. I think Dalvin's legit in that discussion because he has done so many things that haven't shown up in the stat sheet so far, but he's been so good. By the way, Dalvin gets another sack. He gets to 4 this year. That's a new career high for him.
He'll get there.
I would imagine. I would imagine so.
We play the Bears.
Yeah, you got time.
No,
Trust me.
You got a lot of matchups.
Yeah. All right. Game balls for the week, gentlemen. Victory Monday.
I didn't realize Bjorquez was 58.6 a punt.
Yeah, Bojorquez is
did he have a 72-yarder?
He had a 73-yarder down to the one that led directly to a touchdown for us. Bojorquez was sensational. I want to give a little shout-out to James Prochet as well. I'd give him a game ball. Got upfield. He had a 17-yarder. He had another one that was 20-plus called back on penalty. Bubba Ventrone was apoplectic after a couple of those penalties. I mean,
that is an understatement.
So we're doing it, and I see there's one where Prochet had like a 25-yard return up the right side.
Yeah.
And the flag was all the way on the left, had nothing to do with the play. It was on Khalif Halassi. And I see Bubba is losing his mind. I think he threw his hat and picked it up and threw his hat and picked it up like 8 times. He's lots of gestures. He is beside himself with anger, and he is lighting up Halassi. So I go, that flag's got to be on Halassi.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, as they do get these things wrong basically every time, they called it on Mike Ford, who was nowhere even in the vicinity. So I knew it wasn't right. And then in commercial, right? We were in commercial.
Correct.
And the ref comes on and goes, actually, that penalty was on 25. I'm like, yeah, I know that. But Bubba, I can't wait to talk to Bubba. Bubba was pissed.
One other thing I wanted to mention. What is this? Is this 4 straight games with a touchdown for Kareem Hunt?
That's right.
Yes.
The longest. He's 4 straight games with a rushing touchdown, which is the longest active streak in the National Football League.
All right. So 4 straight games with a rushing touchdown.
5 total.
If it's inside the 5, like, he will find the zone. He just does. But it's more than that with him. It's amazing for a guy who was not here, would not be here if Nick did not get hurt. He is such an emotional boost across the board. Like, people look to him. The fans love him. You see the way, like, that you were talking about the Deshaun, the reaction with Deshaun, with Kareem, it's front and center at that. Like, he is such a positive entity.
Yes, and it's awesome. It's awesome that
really
he's back.
cool.
He's doing it. Listen, when we went forward on 4th down and 1, we run that. We're in many ways, and now at the goal line we do various things, right? We go wildcat, where it's a direct snap, and he's able to get in against the Colts. We do in this one, he lined up. It was such a cool formation. So you had Deshaun Watson under center. You had 3 backs in the backfield, which isn't a wishbone, right? Unless they're in a particular formation.
Yeah. Wishbone is
right. Not that. So you had quarterback directly behind him was Nick Harris. To Nick Harris's right was Harrison Bryant. To Nick Harris's left was Kareem Hunt. They run a play to the right, so Harris and Bryant go, and he follows right between them. He got in the end zone. That was how he scored the rushing touch in this one. We're becoming very Seattle-like, though, in critical moments. We run the play where Wills, Bitonio pull down, Teller comes from behind, Nick Harris is the lead blocker, and he runs right behind Nick Harris and Wyatt Teller, and that has been a first down or a touchdown basically every time we run it.
That'll do.
It'll do nicely. And he just finds a way to fall forward. I mean, the numbers weren't pretty. That's the thing. Like,
no.
Our running game was actually not great. Jerome Ford, 2.2 yards a carry. Kareem Hunt, 2.7. Pierre Strong, only 3 carries, 3. But Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt had 34 carries that got 82 yards. Like, that is not – we didn't have any of our chunk runs. Our longest run of the day actually belonged to our quarterback, Deshaun Watson.
Right, but it's also like that – those 34 plays and the 84 yards, like, it's you got to do that stuff. You got to be able to do that sometimes. And I'm just happy to have him back, and I'm glad that his story here gets this chapter.
Of course,
so I've always enjoyed him.
Yeah, because it ended as he said. It was he didn't think he would be back here. A lot of people didn't think he'd be back here, and he is, and it's worked out in a very, very positive way.
All right, we go around the AFC North, and again, all 4 of these teams would be playoff teams if this started right now. We've got a Monday nighter as well to get you set for, and maybe an all-time Manning cast guest. We'll get to that coming up next. Yep.
Oh, it's got a lot of potential.
850 ESPN Cleveland. Hey, Browns fans, you could enter for a chance to win season tickets to the 2024 season from Sugardale and your local Meijer. Head to browns.com/contest to enter now. And don't forget to grab Sugardale bacon on your next trip to Meijer. Here's where you stand. Ravens 7-2, Steelers, Browns, Bengals, all 5-3 in the AFC North.
Yeah.
If the playoffs started now, you'd be the 2 seed, the 5 seed, the 6, and the 7.
Here's what's wild. I'm just going to do a fun little exercise for everybody. AFC East, going into tonight's game, combined record, 17 wins, 17 losses.
Mm-hmm.
AFC North, combined wins, 22. Combined losses, 11. AFC South, combined wins, 17. Combined losses, 16. AFC West, combined wins 17, combined losses 16. NFC East, which has the 8-1 Eagles, combined wins 19, combined losses 16. NFC North, so right now we're 22-11. Nobody else has gotten to 20. NFC North, combined wins 16, combined losses 18. NFC South, combined wins, yikes, 13.
Yeah.
Combined losses, 21. NFC West, combined wins, 14. Combined losses, 20. And we're at 22-11 in our division.
22-11, yep. Yeah, I had that said earlier. There's like 17-6 against non-divisional games in the AFC North. Just dominance. And we have never been full strength, never. Here with this operation. Somehow we're 5-3 because the defense has been extraordinary, nothing short of it. You do have Monday Night Football tonight. It is Chargers at Jets. We'll give you the call on that one in just a second. Manningcast, the Governator. Arnold in the first quarter of that one. Now, let me just say this. This has a potential to be unbelievable. It has a potential to fall off a cliff. I'm fearful of the technology issue here.
He's not a spring chicken.
He's not. So while I'm sure he'll have handlers who will have him
get whoever did the Netflix
spots,
documentary, get them involved.
Make sure that he is hearing them correctly, that he can hear them clearly.
Yes.
That's to be very critical that Peyton and Eli don't try to talk over each other, that we
one at a time
take turns
one
communicating.
Voice.
And then that will be – and then I don't really want any football when he's on. Honestly, I would like Eli to sit this one out. I would just like Peyton to interview him.
Yes.
That's what I would like.
From a Browns standpoint, Jets 4-3, Chargers 3-4. You want the Chargers to knock them down to 4-4, right? You don't want them at 5-3.
I think the other way, because I think the Jets will
because
revert
the Chargers
to the mean,
are real.
The Chargers have a higher ceiling.
Chargers do have a higher ceiling.
Like if they drop to 3, if the Chargers are up to 3-5, that's a lot to start to dig out of.
They could be, yeah.
So if they get to 4-4, then they have life. I don't want them having life. I want them absent.
Chargers very moderate favorites.
I think that's I think it's the people out there finally have caught up to what they are.
That number has changed too. It's 3 now.
Yep.
Is it really? Yeah. I mean, I think it's in a way it's caught up. Like people understand that this is the type of game they lose.
Yeah.
They just inexplicably lose games like this. So
I'm
who else?
Happy I could just go to bed tonight. I'm not even.
Yeah, there's no it's
Manningcast. Fine.
I'm going to watch the Arnold thing, and then I can kind of unless they're putting on a show. If Herbert's in a zone, then I like watching him play. So if there's a little bit of a zone there, but I don't need to watch the Jets play offense for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah. You don't need that at all. Who are the other two guests you said on that?
The other two, Trevor Lawrence, quarterback of the Jags, which I think could be. I always like when they have quarterbacks on because then they talk ball. So to me, that's worth watching. And then Keyshawn Johnson, not.
Gross.
I'm shocked by that.
Me too. I mean, it's on ESPN. ESPN just dumped him, didn't they? Isn't he on Fox now?
Yep.
So they just dumped him, and they're putting him on, probably because he's a Jet. Get Namath.
Get Namath.
Broadway Joe, baby.
You get a lot of people.
Yeah. Give me a little.
What's Kenny O'Brien doing?
Little Bart Scott, maybe?
Altoon?
Right. What about Chad Pennington?
Chad Pennington would be great. Kenny O'Brien. Yeah. Altoon. That's the way to handle
what about
that.
Curtis Martin?
My favorite Martin. Let's go. All right, we'll get you a score on that one coming up next. Listen to Cleveland Runs Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day. Pour me in, coach. Find cocktail recipes for every fan at titosvodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof. Crafted to be savored responsibly. We have a Monday nighter. It is Chargers. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. The Los Angeles Chargers
Yes!
heading east to New Jersey to do battle with the New York Football Jets. Jets have won 3 in a row. Zagura.
Chargers by a billion.
The first guest in on Manningcast, there's a famous soundbite of him when he was the governor, when the Chargers moved to Los Angeles, and he said, "Go Chargers, go!" So go Chargers, go. Take care of their business, Arnold.
Yes, let's go.
Do what you're supposed to do, kids. We're back tomorrow. More fun. Enjoy the rest of your Victory Monday. Not much of it left. Going to be dark by the time you get home.
It already looks dark.
Already looks dark. Play the Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.